Hey guys, hey everyone. So we are here again on the live. I just need a minute to check this out. As always, I always check this out. Yes, everything is fine. So I'm glad that you are here again. As always, your comment is always welcome. You can always let me know your thoughts, what you are considering. And always nice to hear what you have to say. So, so you can always let me know you have something in your mind. Uh, some your comment will be available as well on the live, so it can be a very nice way to create a kind of historical discussion about artificial intelligence. So I'm glad again. Always glad that I have this opportunity to talk. I have this opportunity to share. As always, I like to share not just about the. I always like to use this live not to share just about the topic that I'm talking about, but as well like to share part of the work that I'm doing, part of the simulation. Sometimes I like to share some course. Remember that this live is part of a project called AI by Sci-Fi. And the idea of the project is to talk about AI, artificial intelligence, in a very nice, in a very friendly way. We all like Netflix. We all like YouTube. This movie specifically that I talk today is available on YouTube. It's a very interesting movie because it brings us to the discussion whether how far AI is. On the beginning of the live, I have shown a video which I saw on Twitter. This video is a very curious video that shows how fast you are. I was surprised, to be honest. I didn't know that you were that fast. I have seen some discussions, but I didn't know how fast. But I have to be honest, that's not just about movement that you talk. It's also about the even artificial intelligence that recently I have launched a book, audiobook. Then you have used the artificial intelligence from Google. In the case of Google, I was surprised how good is the audiobook. The audiobook is narrated by by machine, not narrated by human. But you can even see the kind of, when you talk, you have this kind of very slow sound between voices, kind of strange sound that the artificial intelligence is able to replicate that. So that was very surprised to me that Google has arrived to this point. I have been used TensorFlow.js more specifically. People like to use TensorFlow, which is in Python. They are both of Google. They are both public technology. They call OpenAI. So artificial intelligence has evolved a lot since Google entered the game, since people start to use open source, since people start to use So the idea is that artificial intelligence should be shared with everyone. So they have even some project. It's called Open API, which is a set of API that's supposed to communicate with each other. That's a very revolutionary. So when we work together instead of privately, such as it was in the past, artificial intelligence evolved much faster. That case that you showed in the beginning, which has to do with your life today, is a little bit harder because it's very expensive to build this kind of moral robot, but still surprising. In the case of Google, so on, it's very easy. I can build into my own computer. I don't have to pay a lot of money to build a system that can. I have a course which is available on Udemy, in which you can build a robot that is able to see an insult. So imagine if you take this insult bot, I have called insult bot, and you put inside the brain of that machine that you saw in the beginning. The machine will get even closer to human. They can move like human. They can jump in the way that I cannot jump. I cannot do this kind of jump. I have done a kind of provocation about Pelé, the soccer player from Brazil, that he's safe from automation. I still think that he's safe because the kind of movement that he's able to do with his feet, I still have some doubt that machine is able to do it but maybe it's a matter of time that Pelé as well will be replaced, because Kasparov, which is the best, was one of the best in chess, playing chess, he was essentially replaced by computer. His famous match was against Deep Blue, but today computer is much better than Deep Blue. So Deep Blue was able to defeat the best chess. So maybe in the future computer will be able to defend, to defeat the best soccer game, any kind of game that you need to make movement. So human, as I like to say, human is safe for a while as long as they use their hands, as long as they use a kind of a combination between creativity and the movement and so on. So it means that you're talking about the future of the world. Anything that you have to use just your vision, such as recently I have built an artificial intelligence which is able to spot. For example, let me show you very fast here. Let me just a minute. I'll just open for you here the image. Let me see if I have it very easy here. It's very hard. I do it here. It's a little bit hard to find, but let's see if I can find it here. Let me just a minute. I'm testing a considerable amount of software. So they are public and available, so anyone can spot it. Let me show you this image here. So just a minute. So this image here, I like to use this one because it gives me like it. So this image here is a person, it's a dog. That's let me make it bigger, so make it bigger for you to see. You can say that it's a person, it's a dog. I'm sorry, it's a dog and it's a person. But what about if AI could say that for you? You don't need to say it by human, like automation, like computer vision. Suppose you want to create a computer that is able to, such as that computer that you saw in the beginning, that movement. Suppose that you want to make the computer to be able to identify. It's not that simple, it may seem. We tend to think that's very easy because it's easy for us, it's easy for machine. But it is a very big mistake to think that what's easy for you, especially is easy for machine. There is paradox. I never remember his name, but he said that what's easy for human is not easy for computer. What's not easy for computer, what is for computer not easy for human. So the fact that we are able to identify this image here, even though it's very simple for human, it's not simple for machine. Machine cannot do it. It's just not very easy for human. So the fact that you can easily see that's a dog, that's a person, it took like years and years and years to identify. The machine that I have tested at work to make the identification, it's a machine that's trained on a very powerful computer in Google. So they make it public available. So imagine all the power that computer need. One time on my Master of Science, I saw a supercomputer called Galera in Poland where I did my Master of Science. It's a floor. It's one floor. It's a huge floor just to keep a single computer. So imagine a floor. Imagine a whole floor designed to keep a computer. Not to mention the kind of you have to keep the temperature very low. It's very expensive. So human can do it with a very small brain. You cannot imagine a very small brain can replace a floor of computers. In order to defeat Kasparov, they had to use a very powerful computer. So imagine all the amount of resource that you need just to classify this image here. Now I can do it easily in my house. But before I was able to do it, they had to use a huge, powerful computer trained with thousands of images. But you can do it easily. I mean, a child can say that there's a dog here, there's a human here. Even though now can do it very fast, that was very expensive for him to build this kind of mechanism. In the case of the robot that you saw in the beginning of the live, it took like 30 years of research on that top university. Not to mention all the research that you have all over the humanity. You have to also remember that any advance that you have in science does not belong just to one single scientist. Science evolve as a body. When someone wins a Nobel Prize, it's not about just the person to win a Nobel Prize. Like when Albert Einstein won his Nobel Prize, his work was based on the work of Max Planck, which was based on the work of somebody else. So science is a joint game. Even though one person may gain recognition, one single universe may gain recognition, it's a joint game. Everyone in the end contributes somehow to this. So, today we are going to talk about the boundaries. We are going to make some kind of reflection about the boundaries between artificial intelligence and the human. How far you want to cross this boundary? As I see it, still cross the boundary. I mean, it's true that most of the work that are repetitive, they are being replaced by machine. But that's not yet human, because human has been replaced by machine for a long time. A calculator, as the story goes, a calculator was created by a child of a child of mathematician. His father used to make calculation, and he created the first calculation. So the calculator is already around for a very long time. Even the mechanical calculator, which you can make the calculation by hand, is still a kind of calculator. So human has been replaced by machine for a very long time. The point is that today it's becoming harder and harder to spot whether it's a machine, whether it's a human. There's a very rich nice discussion about if human is ready for this replacement. If you are ready to go into this kind of position. Humans sometimes feel a little bit like jealous, I would say. So let's start. I want to share with you guys with a couple of slides. The point is, Ex Machina is a movie. It's a sci-fi movie. So the movie makes you think, can you tell if you are talking to a machine? That's the big idea of the movie. The movie is let me explain the movie. The movie you can find on YouTube, at least you can find. I was able to find on YouTube. Smith, computer programmer, and such, he wins the contest. The movies, I not make too much spoiler because I suggest you to watch the movie, but he just applied and he was surprised that he was selected. It's a kind of very. It's like you. Let me just make one thing here. Just a minute. I just wanted to. I think the background sound may be a little bit boring. Let me just give me a minute. I want to just make it load. Okay. So Smith won this opportunity to test a machine. I myself would be very happy to win this kind of competition. Imagine have the opportunity to win a competition which you are a person like Kasparov. Kasparov, in his case, he was the best at the time, so he won by his own effort. But imagine you have the opportunity to change the world, to be part of this change. Imagine the case of Kasparov. Now he went to history because he was the first to be defeated by a machine. So imagine you are defeated, it's still you won, because now he's part of the history. He was in several talks talk about his defeat. He wrote a book about his defeat. That was the best defeat ever. Imagine you are defeated, you lost, but still go to history. Like Brazil recently, he lost on the World Cup, but he was kept as the best of the world because there is a mathematical model that showed that Brazil played the best. And the FIFA, which was the official agency, they recognized Brazil as the best, even though we lost the Cup of the World. I'm Brazilian. So Nathan, which again I totally recommend you to watch the movie. I'm not going to say too much spoiler here. I watched the movie, but I don't want to I don't want to deprive you from the pleasure to see the movie, but he lives alone. I think it's a stereotype of someone lives like Iron Man. He lived the same style for Iron Man. Like I think it's a move, create a kind of very romantic view of what is a researcher. He lives alone. He lives like in a very rich place. I think that's not totally true, as I see it. I mean, I see it, right? But he lives with someone, a servant. The servant is unable to understand English, so sometimes he's very rude with her. There is even a scene in which he makes sex with her. So I was a little bit angry on that scene, like a human. I don't know if I should do the spoiler. I suggest you to jump this part. Just go some seconds ahead, not for you not to hear the spoiler. But she's a robot. I was able to guess. When you start the movie, somehow I say, well, she must be a robot because maybe because of the context, I guess that she was. But she was perfect. I mean, could not say by her appearance that she was a robot. So that's a very interesting point. That how far the dating for the romance. Imagine the future. We could, such as in the music, there's a music for Aerosmith. I think it's called Scientist. I think the name of the music of Aerosmith, in which the singer is a scientist. The guy from the movie is a scientist. Then he decided to, after he got rejected by some mates, he decided to build a robot that she was very beautiful. But the music, the robot still replaced him by somebody else. I think that's a very nice song. I love the song from Aerosmith called Scientist. I think the music called Scientist, the Scientist. So that's the same. But imagine the future where you're able to replace a girl that you don't like, that you reject you by a robot. I think that's a very interesting question that you should do. I would love to try it out because I'm very bad at dating. I don't have the patience. I'm not very good at like creating like I like to call it lies because for you to date you have to lie. So I would be very happy if you could just have fun without necessarily have to face all the social rules that I hate. So Nathan revealed that he has built a humanoid, which is a kind of I mean, you have to see the movie. She's very close to him. I mean, in the specific case, she's not. But the servant, she's which is a kind of a very tricky book because the servant was as well a test, a Turing test, because Nathan, he was Smith, the one that tested the machine. He wasn't able to even to say that the just in the end of the movie that he's able to spot the servant was a machine. So the question is whether the Nathan was asking him to test the servant or test him the machine, because the servant as well was able to fool him. So if the servant was a machine, was able to fool him, I think he was fooled even by the servant, but he was called to test the machine. So Ever, which is the machine, he's already passed a simple Turing test. That's why there is a very nice discussion by Marvin Minsky, which is a real. Marvin Minsky was a researcher. He existed, so he was very important for artificial intelligence. He said that Turing test is a joke. The Turing test was designed when artificial intelligence was in the beginning. I'm not sure that Turing knew that, Alan Turing knew that, or anyone knew that how fast artificial intelligence would evolve. So some people say that Magnum Minsky as one example, Turing test is a joke. I also like, because the case of Kasparov, if you read the book of Kasparov, Deep Thinking, he says in the book that now it's very hard to say whether you are playing with a machine. I mean, if you are playing chess, it's very hard for you to say that you are playing with a human or you are playing. The only reason you know that's a machine because it moves very fast. I mean, when you move, it moves very fast against it. The response of the machine is very fast. But if you slow down the response of the chess engine, when you play with chess, I think it will be very hard for you to say whether you are playing with a chess engine or if you are playing with a human. That's how I see it. So Aver is generally capable of thoughts and consciousness. and whether he can relate to Ava despite know she's artificial. So that's a very tricky question because there is a very strong discussion nowadays. In this part here, she dressed like a girl. She dressed like she tried to she tried to create on human on him on me Smith, the person that was testing the machine, a kind of attraction, which is a human, which is a human, which is a human, a human stuff. So we have manipulation like in human. Human can manipulate each other, especially if you have a kind of if you are a psychopath, or if you have a kind of difficulty of some people they manipulate each other. So manipulation is a human trick. So there is no, I mean, if human can manipulate each other, such as if you like someone, I have been manipulated a lot of time when I was young because I have some difficulty to hang that. But people manipulate each other all the time. So what she's trying to do when she dressed very nicely, very beautifully, she was trying to manipulate him. And as the movie show, she succeeded somehow to manipulate him because he felt attracted by her. And he said that I also as a human felt attracted, but as long as you can manipulate humans' emotions, we can. It's not very. It's as I see it, it's not very hard to manipulate him emotionally. For example, when you watch some kind of very good animation, very good animation, I feel attracted sometimes by some very good animation. Such as it's not even that hard to feel attracted by animation, as long as the animation keeps some basic human attraction, such as the style that you like, and so on. You start to get feel attracted. So I don't think that machine is going to have very hard work to manipulate us, as long as the machine is able to understand what is manipulation, what's the joke. For example, as I said before, in one of my courses, some available on Udemy, I built a robot that's able to, a robot, in this case, it's a bot that's able to identify insult. So but very sad insults, even human cannot understand. It's very hard. I have the feeling sometimes to understand some insult. Some people that are autists, they also have the feeling to understand very sad insult. So the boundary between human and machine is very sad because you cannot say that, for example, if some human, such as autists, even not kind of human like myself, I have difficulty to understand some insult, and the robot is also unable to understand. You cannot say for sure that it's a robot because it's unable to understand some kind of insult. For example, in Twitter, some robot is able to reply Twitter. I mean, to reply your tweet. So it's very hard to say whether it's a robot. At least for me, it's very hard. For example, because some people reply tweet like angry, like you are asshole. So this kind of very very primitive tweet, machine can replace that. Machine can even write now. Machine can write scientific article, can write poem, can write theorems, can reprove theorems. So I think the boundaries get very very gray, very very hard to separate, to make a kind of separation. What is a human? What is my biggest fear is that religion may start to interfere. In the previous live, in which we talked about the other movie which I liked a lot, in which is called the Emilia 2.0. The senator, which was a religion person, he tried to understand this machine by religion, like human is a creature of God. So you cannot make this kind of replacement. So my fear is that as we evolve, religion will start to make more and more interference. That's a very nice movie, which I totally recommend. It's called the Angels and Demons. Angels and Demons. There's a part in which the priest, he's trying to say to science to go slow. Please go slow. We as a religion person want just want to ask science, please go slow. I don't like this kind of thinking because when when you start to interfere in science by religion, like religion thought, that really makes me angry sometimes. I see religion people trying to make it to be scientists. I mean, it's not their domain. They should stay away from that, as I see. So there were a very article that was able to gain a very huge amount of attention in media because an engineer of Google he said that the company built a sentient, which is a machine that's able to feel. That's one of the biggest. That's one of the way that they could say that machine could be crossed in human domain. So Google, I guess Google was Google is a very serious company, so they decided to fire the engineering. I guess they don't want to claim stuff before it's time because I mean it's a very complex. Google could face very religions and church and so on. I guess Google was very smart because when they decided not to get involved because maybe we are not ready yet for that. Google do not want to be a target of angry people, such as the companies that make experiments with animals. They face there were a time in which people to go to inside this company that make experiments with animals. They would to free the animal. They would to invade this company. So I think Google was very smart, not to avoid this kind of because maybe you are not ready yet. You're not you are not ready yet to deal with this kind of machine. So maybe sometimes you have to wait. You have to be. You keep the technology evolving, and you let human, like general human, like a politician, to handle the stuff. But when you make this kind of claim that the machine is alive, that the sentient it's alive, you are calling to yourself a huge amount of unnecessary angry people, unnecessary, I would say even stupid people that has no idea what they're talking about. I mean, most of them they are already use artificial intelligence. Most of them is already being benefited by, but they don't, but they're not aware of that. As long as they wake up, say that. One time I saw a research saying that people ask the street whether they should be informed if they have DNA in the food. That was a survey. Some people say that yes, the company should inform me that there is DNA in the food. The point that every food has DNA, so it's not about to inform you that there is DNA in the food. It's about that every food has DNA. So sometimes when you create this kind of unnecessary discussion, it's kind of here where the robot is alive, you start creating a very, very unnecessary angry people, angry discussion that's meaningless. So I think it should go slow. It should to avoid this kind of angry, even stupid people that should put to be get involved in this kind of stuff. Science is for scientists. Science not for anyone. If you want to be a scientist, just make it the best to learn how science works. Untrained people should not be. There's a book which I like called Losing Thinking: How Untrained Brain is Ruining America. So if you are an untrained brain, do not try to get involved with stuff that you do not know what talking about. AI is one example. So as long as you start to say that AI is human, it will be very tough. In the movie that I talked briefly, I talk about AI, Amelia 2.0 in the previous line. That was an example in the movie what may happen in the future when you finally is able to. This movie here talked about this movie here called the Ex Machina talk about when AI is being tested. In the other movie, the AI has already been somehow. It's a kind of test as well. How human is going to respond when they finally is able to replace a human, a loved one that is dead by a machine. There is this book here, which I never read, to be 100% honest, where I saw one time in public discussion. I think that sounds like a good book. Maybe if you read the book, you can leave your comments on the description. Maybe in the future I may read this book. So it's on my reading list. It sounds like a very nice book. I saw a public discussion. I totally recommend. The discussion was very nice. So the Turing test, in a very simple way, that's a very simple. That's the very simplistic. That's the simple version of the Turing test. Essentially, you have to respond. That is one is a computer, the other one is a human. So so the standard interpretation of the test in which C is the table interrogator is a human interrogator, which is done. You see the move Ex Machina. That's what he does. He tries to interrogate the machine. He's given the task of trying to determine which player A B is a computer, or which one is a human. The interrogate is limited to using the response to written question to make. In the case of Ava, she was tested already by very simple, as I saw in the movie. She was tested to use this kind of Turing test, which is you cannot see. The specific case, in the case of the movie, she was able to see that she's a machine. So she already passed one test, which was a very simple test, but now they want to test it even more. But in the case of the movies, as I said before, the movies are a little bit tricky, because Smith, the guy that is testing the machine, wasn't able to say that the servant is a machine. So if he wasn't able to say that servant is a machine, the machine not passed again twice the test, because he wasn't able to say that the servant was already a human, right? In the case of the movie, the end, the machine, again, that's another spoiler. So I suggest to jump this part. Just jump there some seconds, so for you not to see spoiler. But maybe I can the future put that in the end of the movie, so I not give you the pleasure. I not spoil you the pleasure to watch the movie. But in the end, the machine is able to trick even Smith. She's able to run away, because she was able to trick him, that the guy that created the Nathan that created the machine was trying to keep her, like was trying to kill her. She was manipulated twice. She tried to manipulate him with a dress, like she was very sexy, foxy. Then she was able to manipulate him again by saying that Nathan was trying to kill her, and so on and so on. In the end, Smith helps her to run away. There is even a part that I think he kills if I remember well, he kills the guy, because the machine was so good at manipulating that she was able to take him. Today you have that. If you go to Twitter, fake news, most of the time is artificial intelligence used to manipulate people. So people is able nowadays to vote, to believe whatever they want in fascism. Today the fascists gained fascism as a killer of democracy, gained a new weapon, which is artificial intelligence. So nowadays you cannot tell whether something is true or is not true, because artificial intelligence is able to fake a considerable amount of news, is able to create a parallel reality. In Brazil, you are facing difficulty now. In America as well, I heard a lot. It's kind of difficulty. So we are not just facing the boundary between machine and human. You are facing as well the boundary between reality and fiction. So this is the talk, which is a total recommend. Marvin Minsky was someone very important for artificial intelligence. So I totally recommend for you to follow this this talk. So thank you for your attention. As always, you can find me here. If you want to talk to me privately, if you want to send me a comment, if you want to send me questions, you can send here. You can send me private. You can leave a comment on the live. So all the lives is a big pleasure for me to be here talking to you, to share my thoughts, to have the opportunity to hear what you have to say. Also to share some of the work that I'm doing. Right now, I'm independent researcher, so it was a pleasure to have the opportunity. I have this view of mine that you should make science happen. So that's one of the reasons why I'm making this kind of live. Maybe in the future, I may create some kind of webinars. I'm still working on that. But I do have some books. I do have some courses. They are all in the description of the video. You can also let me know when you buy one of my courses, when you buy one of my books, you help me to go on. So hope that you enjoy. As always, you can let me know your thought at me. So I think that's all. I think that was the robot that presented in the beginning. So I think that's all. Thanks for your attention. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. Always keep in mind that it's a sequence of life. So I suggest you to see the previous live, see the next live, give me a suggestion. Which topic of AI, especially that you are most interested about? Not to be shy. You can find me on Twitter as well. You can ask me, you can tag me on Twitter, you can tag me on LinkedIn, you can tag me on Instagram, you can tag me on Facebook. So feel free to start a discussion. Feel free to tag me on a kind of a discussion, kind of question. I'll be glad to think about and give you a reply. So see you guys. It was a pleasure as always.